Professor, you're mute.
Who muted me? Since when I've been muted? Okay. So select full name as if and salary as is from salesman. Okay, so let's call this my salary. Do you remember the syntax? Yes? So this is an alias, right? So select into is very simple if you remember this. Okay, what we do, instead of having an alias for each, we say select f name salary. Instead of as, we say into. Okay, then we list the variables where we want the values to be saved to. So my name goes, sorry, full name goes to my name, salary goes to my salary. Okay, so are we clear on the select statement? Select into. Basically, you take the value of some columns in a single row and save it into variables. The order that you mention your column should be the same order that you mention your variables. Now, remember, select into needs to return only and only one row. You cannot have more than one row returned. So here I need to say SID equal 100. Okay, my name, my salary. So if we run this, where am I doing wrong? Select
Should
full
it
name
be where
salary.
SID equal 100?
Oh yes, sorry. Where? Thank you. Somebody is awake. We don't have 100. Do you guys have the tables? So select star from salesman. So we need to catch that error, okay? I'll tell you how to do that later. Oh, 111, my bad. 111. All right, now we should be able to get that. Okay, now if you notice we had an error, yeah? To catch an error, we need to add a block called exception. Okay, there are some predefined error like where data not found, then we write something maybe, okay? Like in this case, the error was data not found, right? So here we would have no such, okay? So if we put this back to 100, it should raise the error because there was no data, and it should print me this, okay? How did we spell it? Wasn't this the error? Let me get the exact name of the error. It's data not found, no? No data found. Hey. That's why this test should be open book, all right? For you, hopefully. No data found, my bad. Now we should get that no such employee, okay? Now, we know how to read into this. Now there is a problem. I say full name is 100 car, right? Let's make this 10 or 5 and see what happens. So if I run this, I get into another error, hopefully. Oi. I want you to see why we need to use, all right? Here, you see that? It cannot fit full name into my variable because this is longer than that one, okay? So what we do, instead of manually saying it's varchar, we have to say it's coming from salesman, this is what I'm gonna read from. It's the salesman table dot full name. Yeah, give me the data type for this. Okay, now if I run this, then I don't get error because I take the data type of this and assigned it to this. Okay, so I don't get an error of buffer something. Okay. The other thing we can do is create a row type. If now here we're accessing each column, right? What if I want to have all the columns? I cannot, if I have 50 columns, I don't want to mention them one by one. So what I do is I would say one row is my salesman table. Get me the row type of the salesman table. So this line basically will give me the structure of the rows in the salesman table. It will tell me it has 50 columns. These are the names and these are the data types for each column. It will be all saved into this. Okay. So now what I could do is copy, paste. Instead of mentioning the columns one by one, I can select everything into one row. If at any point you feel I'm going too fast and you cannot catch, let me know. Okay, this was, yeah, all right. So what I can do now, I can print everything in that table. Yeah. Select a name, salary, I can do maybe department and maybe gender, okay. And then here we can say gender. What is it missing? I'm referring to the columns in my select statement, but these are saved into this one row. So instead of accessing them, for accessing them, we need to say one row dot. So these are saved inside one row. So we use the dot operator to access the column inside the row. Okay. Dot and dot, and don't give me errors. What is my name? Oh, my bad. This would be full name. This should be full name, and this should be just salary. Okay. Okay. Now, what else we can do? We could actually have a for loop. Say, like, if we don't want to access only one row, we want to access all the rows, we say select, sorry, for this row in, I put my select statement here. Select a star from products, okay? Loop and loop. And here I'm gonna copy that, paste it here, put line, this is this row, and we're gonna now use the P name. Here is this row, and we're gonna take the P cost, this row, and we're gonna take P price, okay? And that's about it. So what happens if we do this? It loops each row, okay, in the this row dot, okay. What happens here? It goes to the select statement, returns me all the rows, yeah? It points to each row with this row variable. Now to access the values inside each column, we need to say, go inside this row, go inside this column, and give me the value, okay? So that's basically how it talks, okay? Each row, each column. Now, what if this is a select statement that I'm gonna use again and again and again in my program? The way to do this, instead of writing the select statement inside my loop, I will save it into a container, and that container is called cursor. So I will cut this. I will say, read this row from a container, which I will call C1, okay? Now here I need to say C1 is this. That means, sorry, cursor. I'm creating a cursor named C1, and it holds the result of this select statement, okay? If I run this, it should run without any problem. I need to remove this salesman so I don't have to select again and again, okay? Now, the other thing we can do is say, don't read everything, okay? Read something specific that I want to pass to my product, okay? For example, I want to get all the products that a user sends me the category name. I don't want to say products were ECAT equal, I think we had this, okay? So let's run that. It should just give me the phones. Now, what we're assuming is that when I am writing my query, I don't know this. Yeah, somebody in the system, in the interface is sending me this. So this is unknown PCAT, okay? Now, where do I get this unknown PCAT? Now that you learned functions, it's one way is to pass it through the function or procedure variables, all right? The other way is to pass it through the cursor. So I'm gonna say, my cursor will take a parameter called unknown, which is of type products.pcat percentage type. And when I am calling my cursor, I will say which category I want to see. Okay, so what happens? It's calling the cursor. It takes the parameter with it. It comes here. This is the cursor. Unknown PCAT is the parameter, is phone. Then it goes to the select statement and say product where PCAT is unknown. Now we know that unknown PCAT is phone. It selects that, saves it into C1, and comes back and reads it, okay? The advantage of doing this,
I think maybe close the cursor.
yeah, I think no, it's closing. For loop,
Oh, yeah.
C1.
Or maybe you have to commit. I don't know.
No, we're not saving anything. It's select a star from products where PCAT equal unknown PCAT. It's so weird. All right, let's do one thing. We'll put everything back to where it was and see where we're doing wrong. Okay. All right, and then here we say unknown. So sorry. We're taking the phone, we're passing it here, products, PCAT type, products, PCAT. Let me do one thing just to, let's just pass this anyways, even if you're not using it. So this is working. It comes when I'm doing this. Equal to. That's weird. It worked. We didn't do anything different. Anyways, all right. So what are the other products that we had? Phone and TV. So let's run that. Yeah, okay. I don't know what was wrong. Okay. So we can keep changing this, maybe based on the user input. Okay. Now let's say I want to make an update instead of just reading something. So I'm gonna make this a simple update statement. We're gonna go to, let's call this C2. You can pass parameters to update a statement as well, okay? But I'm gonna keep this simple. Select a star from products where, let's not have that, yeah? Now, if we are doing update, yeah, we need to lock the table. To do that, when I'm writing my cursor and doing my select statement, I need to add the phrase, two people are waiting, view, okay. In order to lock it, I just need to add the keyword for update, okay? We learned how to loop with for loop, so I'm gonna do catch, open fetch catch, open fetch close, okay? Is that okay? Because I think we know how to do the for loop now. Okay, let's do this and say open C2, okay? Close C2. What do we want to do once we open? The first thing we do is to fetch the first row, okay? Fetch C2 into row 1. Now, row 1 is not defined. When we are doing a for loop, this row will get automatically defined by the loop, okay? And it's valid within the loop only. If I come here and say this row, it doesn't know what it is because it's only defined within the loop, okay? Right here, we don't have a loop. We are catching something and adding it to a variable. It doesn't know what this variable is. So I need to define it. So when you have open, fetch, close, you need to create the row variable, okay? Who can tell me what is the data type of this row variable? What is the data type? Row type of what? This is good. So I'm gonna type row type. Is it the row type of the products table? Let's call this salesman, okay? Yes, or the row type of my cursor. It has to be the row type of the cursor, okay? It can be the row type of the salesman table if my cursor is selecting everything. Okay, if it's not selecting everything, then it should be the row type of the cursor. So it would be C2 row type. So where were we? C2 fetch into row 1. Okay. Whenever we have open, fetch, close, yeah, we need to have an exit, which would be exit when C2 dot, sorry, C2 percentage not found. Okay, this will run, but I will tell you what's the problem with that. And then here maybe we write something. Okay, I think it's salary, so I can do this. For now, I'm just gonna write something. Okay, I'm not gonna do any updates. Full name, salary, blah blah. What did we do? Oh, sorry. I don't need to do this now. Okay, I need to do it only when I have a loop. So let's run that. Okay, it's running this. Now, the problem with this, it's only fetching the first row, isn't it? If I want to fetch all the rows, I need to put it inside a loop. So loop and end loop. Okay, since we have a loop, okay, I need to have a way to exit the loop. To do that, I say, whenever I catch C2 into C1 and it's empty, when C2 is not found anymore, go out of the loop. All right, so let's do that. What's the keyword? Not found. Which one is this? Where is my not found? Isn't it C2 not found? Or is it one word? I think it's one word. Okay. Yeah, okay. There is a problem. The problem is, where is my selected statement? Select a star. Still reading only the first one.
Miss, because the row name I think is different. It should be row 1, not row 1 row.
Thank you. Shwaza. Row 1. Row 1. Thank you. Row 1, and this one is row 1. Now it should give me the right output. Okay. Now, this is a cursor for update. So I need to write an update statement in it. So how do we do that? Let's put a condition, okay, and say if row 1 the gender, this time I will be nice to men, is male, then, and then here we have end if, okay. If it's a male, then I want to update salesman, set salary equal salary plus 0.2 multiply by salary. Do you want to see what happens if I do this? Because I keep telling you don't do this, but a lot of you have done this. Yeah? Shall I run this and you see the difference? All right, let's do one thing, okay? Let's say select star from salesman. All right, let's just select salary. Select salary. I want you to see the salaries. Okay, you see that? Now I'm gonna mess this up by running that code. Right? You ready to mess it up? Yeah? Look at what happened. Do you see what happened if you don't have a condition? Each time it goes inside the row, no matter whether it's male or female, it prints the salary. It adds the salary. Okay? So let's put gender here as well. So you know that it added no matter whether it was male or female. I'm still sleepy, no? All right, you see, no matter whether it was male or female, it added the salary. It didn't care if its condition is met or not. It didn't care which salary is updating. Each time it got inside, this happened. And that's not what we want. We want the salary to be updated for the row that I am pointing at, not for all of them. Okay? So we have to say where there are two ways to do it. One is to say where row 1 dot sid equal to salesman dot sid. So remember the numbers here, okay? So let's see, this should not be changed, okay? And this should not be changed. If I run this now, Okay, so we see those did not change because it did not meet it, and it got incremented only once because I'm matching it and then incrementing it. Who can tell me what is the other way to do the exact same thing? Okay, the other way is when we're parent of C2. Let in, okay. I'm gonna comment this so it doesn't do it twice. And it should get incremented again, okay? And then this two remained unchanged. So now you understand why is it important to add that where condition, because if you don't do it, it doesn't care about this. It doesn't care about what it's reading. Every time it's inside the loop, it increments everyone's salary by this amount, okay? Now, what else is left? Functions and procedures. Now, this is anonymous block. I cannot call it. Every time I have to run it, I have to select and run, isn't it? Instead of doing that, what I could do is I can make this a function. Create or replace function F1, sorry, procedure, because we're not returning anything. Procedure, okay? P1. Since I don't have anything to pass, it's gonna be just like that, as this. Now let's run this. Procedure created, yeah, but I don't see any output, isn't it? To get the output, I need to execute it. So here I would say execute P1. I can do this because I don't have any variables to be passed, okay? Then it will write everything that I wanted to see here. Vale? Now, we can pass parameters to our procedure. So here, for example, we have maybe the percentage, okay? Raise amount, okay? We say this is a number. What am I missing? This is only in, okay? In, and it's a number. And then when I'm executing, I would say here we change 0.2 and say raise amount, okay? And then here we could pass the raise amount, which is 0.2, because I'm not dividing, so I'm gonna just put 0.2. Happen. Invalid and spelling. So let's just go up. Raise amount, copy. Raise. There was no T in it? Raise amount. Okay, it does the same thing. It's just that we made this more dynamic, no? Let's say we want to save something because we know procedure does not return any value, right? We want to know the total amount raised. How do we get that? Here, what we can do is say total raised equal to I need to write another cursor for that. Okay, let's do this. So let's say we did the update, and then here we, I'm gonna make this simpler so we don't have to code a lot. Update cells then equal to this. All right, no, I can make this easy, that's fine. Amount Okay, raise 1, colon equal row, copy, paste. So we take the row 1 dot salary, row 1 dot equal raise 1 plus. Do you know the formula? Do I need to explain what am I doing? Do I need to explain what I'm doing? Let me see if you guys need an explanation of what I'm doing. So basically what I'm doing is instead of doing the changes here, I'm having a variable called raised 1, which is the previous amount plus, okay, the salary that I'm raising. Actually, it's just this part, okay? Raise amount is just this part. So here, instead of doing that, I could just put raise 1 right there, plus raise 1, okay? I'm calculating how much I'm raising for each salary by multiplying 0.2 by the salary and adding it to raise 1, this is the amount I'm raising. I should put this back because this is calculating everything actually. So I'll put this back. Okay, so what happens now, where is this raise 1? Where can I save it? Okay, if we were in a function, we could return it. Since we are not in a function, what we need to do is we need to save it somewhere, right? So here I would say, I think this is the answer of one of the questions in the lab. I have raise 1. It is out. That means I can only write to it and it's a number, okay? So what happens is there is a variable called raise 1, okay? It comes down here and says, every time I'm raising a salary, add the amount to the current one, yeah? And then this, at the end of the loop, this would have the final raise amount, okay? Then what we can do is, now we cannot do this anymore. Why? Because I have a variable to write into, okay? So I'm gonna comment this and say here, declare, begin, end, okay? In my declaration, I would say amount raised is number, colon equal 0, okay? So the initial value that goes up is 0. And then here I will call my function, which was my procedure P1. The amount, the percentage I want to raise is 0.2, and I want to save the amount raised inside this. Okay, now here I can say dbms.printout raised amount. I'm gonna say raised amount, type it with the number, okay? Cross finger, hopefully we won't get an error. We did expected that. When expecting one of 27, what did we do? Oi, oh, this is so bad. That's embarrassing. Raised amount is nothing. How come? Amount raised, colon equal to 0. It comes here. Raise 1. This is raise 1, raise 1.
Yes, because you're multiplying by 0, right? So it'll be 0 only.
Where am I multiplying by 0?
Because the amount raised is 0, right? You're putting it as 0.
No, this is the initial value of the raised amount. I'm multiplying it by 0.2.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Let me
Yeah.
just. But then it will give me an error again. That's a diff. It didn't give me an error, but amount raised, we're passing it here. P1, is it called P1? Raised amount is in, raise 1 is out. Then raise 1 is this. Let's just print raise 1 every time we're doing this. And let's just raise female salary now, okay? Enough for men. They are rich now. I think it's just not changing the value for some reason. Raise 1 plus raised amount multiply by row 1 dot salary. Why it's not doing this one? So it's coming, but it's always 0. Raise 1 plus raise amount multiply by row 1 dot salary. Okay. So it is raising it. It is changing it. So this is okay. That's weird, no? Okay. Ay, madre mía. We cannot write into it, no? Gosh. Do you know the mistake I was making? Who realized what I was doing? I said it's out, isn't it? But I was assigning a value to it. I cannot do that. It's in, actually. It's not out. Let's just keep it in out and see how it goes. Right, still. No, it is out because I'm writing to it. I have no clue why this is not working. Okay, what I could do is let's just play around with this a little bit and see if that works, okay? This raise is a number colon equal 0. copy this raise, and then this raise. See if it gives me output. So that is giving me output after I finish my loop and close this. I would say raise 1 colon equal this raise. Now it's working. Okay, I don't know why that wasn't working directly. Anyways, so we made it work. Good news. What else we have? We did the open, fetch, close. We did. So function and procedures are the same thing, okay? The only difference is if this was a function, I would have had a return statement. So I'm gonna copy the same thing and turn it into a function, okay? So if this was a function, so create or replace function, F1, raise amount, and instead of saying raise is out, I would just return it, okay? So I'm just gonna remove all this and say return number, okay? And then at the end here, when I'm assigning it, I actually would just return it. Return this raise, and then I could just call the procedure by saying what was it? F1?
Yes, F1.
Select F1 from dual. Is that how we used to do it? Let's see if execute works. Execute. No, actually, what I should do is this. It would, let's change that. Okay. I would need to say amount raised is this. We're calling F1. Sorry, amount raised is number and colon equal function 1 pass 0.2. I don't need this. Okay. All right, let's run everything together. Or just run the function, maybe. Let's just run the function. It would be from here. Okay, F1, function created. So you see that there isn't much difference between function and procedure. It's just that one of them returns a data type, the other one doesn't. Okay, so you see, it's the same thing, no difference. All right, that I guess is all about it, no? We covered almost everything. The one thing you need to keep in mind is when you have local variables, because I've seen some of Dr. Farhat's practice. I remember he had something like this, for example, yeah? Declare begin n, and inside here would say counter c colon equals 0, okay? C1 number. Then here again, he would have begin something like this. Do you remember this practice? Is he still doing this? So here we have C1 colon equal C1 plus 10, okay? And then we have our own declare begin. Declare, we call this C1 number. Does this ring? Is this familiar to you? If not, then then I don't have to spend time on it. Has he solved something like this for you? Come on. Yes or no? If no, I had a meeting at 1 which I'm late for, so I can go.
I don't know this, to be honest.
You don't remember if I don't, he didn't do something like this for you. It's called local variable, global variable. All right, so this we call it outside C, and we print C1, okay? And this is inside C, and we print C1, okay? And then here, maybe we have a loop for,
Ah, yeah, Miss, yeah, I remember he did this in the
in
first tutorial.
2.5. Loop. I'm not sure if I'm having the syntax right. You just need to keep track of local. This is an example of any programming language. It's the same concept. So don't panic with it. The local variables get incremented, but it will not affect the global one, okay? Just remember that. So let's run this so you can see it in action, actually. C1, this one is inside. I hope I don't get error so I can finish this one and go to the next meeting. So C1, what is counter C1? C1 is a number. We incremented by 10. And inside we have another one and we increment it. So let's just run this. And you can see what happens. Line 5, 1, 2, 3. Come on. What else? Again, line 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. End loop. Oi, 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 oi. Why it's not incrementing? I am not incrementing. Guys, wake me up, no? Colon equal C1 plus I. Okay, and here I assign it to 0. Last run, hopefully. So you can see that the one inside does not affect the one outside, okay? So you see that was C1, same variable name, but it's not affecting it. They are not affecting each other. This one is local. It's being changed locally. Why is it incrementing by more than that? 1.
It's because I
No,
is
it's by
incrementing
I, it's
each.
not by 1. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you what it means, okay? So this is what it means, that when you define a local variable and you have one outside of it, they don't affect each other, okay? So if you got a question like this, you just need to grab a paper and pen, keep track of C1s outside, keep track of C1s inside, and see what is being changed. But keep in mind, the one inside is not changing the one outside, okay? That's it, I guess. Let me just, there are other guys waiting for me, so I'm gonna stop the recording, okay?